What is up, friends, YouTube, and motorcycle enthusiasts? This is Accelerate coming at you with a review of the P-TECH pipe guard. So whenever I got a two-stroke, obviously I started looking at protection. As many of you know, as you've seen from my other videos, that I definitely like protection type things. I mean, the brake rotor, front and rear, the shark fin and the front guard protection, the frame protection, the Polysport crankcase covers, and magneto cover on the other side, or stator cover on the other side. I'm a big proponent of protection just because when the bike goes down, hits hard, or you hit rocks, things like that, where it's going to smar and scratch up your swing arm, so on and so forth, or the pipe itself, of course. That's when, over a long period of time, putting, 10, 20, 30, 40, as the hours rack up on your bike, these are the type of mods that are actually going to keep things looking good, and they can also keep you from having to walk out of the woods, right? So I did a lot of research on pipe guards, and whenever I received the bike had on it something that a lot of two-strokes have on them, and that is the carbon fiber pipe guard. It's essentially a carbon fiber skin that uses band clamps, metal band clamps to attach, and it's form-fitted and wraps around your two-stroke pipe. Now, after a good bit of research, what I found is that those type of guards do help stop impacts. So if you have if you lay the bike down on a sharp rock or something that will indent, put a lot of pressure in a small surface area of the pipe, obviously that carbon fiber guard will distribute that impact across the entire guard. It may crack the carbon fiber, but it won't dent the pipe. Now, the downside to those is that it does put a lot of pressure on the neck of the pipe itself or the cylinder head. Now, they even make cylinder head braces for these two strokes where it goes around the coupler for the cylinder head itself, because if you have such a large impact that the pipe itself just smushes, and it can ultimately chip or bend or break the casting of the head, and also tweak the neck of your pipe. So for me, at the end of the day, I wasn't a huge fan of those. Now, another side of it too is that after they take scratches and they get beat up, they kind of look like crap, and there's really nothing you can do with it other than resanding them down and maybe recoating them. But as the carbon fiber, as it wears into the actual material itself, there's not much you're going to be able to do other than purchase another guard, right? So as I was looking at different guards, I came across these full skid plate and pipe guard combos. Now, this is my P-TECH guard, and there are a few other companies out there. I'm pretty sure Force makes one. There's also some custom options that I've seen people made. But what attracted me to the P-TECH was basically two things. Number one is the price. So of the other companies that I saw, P-TECH was the most reasonable. And then the other thing is, and call me crazy, but it came in black. So it came powder coated. And as I was doing, as I've mentioned before, I'm a sucker for good looks. I like things to be color coordinated and things like that. As I was looking at other brands, they actually had, P-TECH offered a powder coated black guard. Now, is it to say that I couldn't get another guard and then have it powder coated? Of course. I personally don't have a powder coating gun or oven or any of that stuff. I have a good friend that does. But, to go through all that process whenever the manufacturer already supplies the black powder coating, I thought that was a plus up. One thing that P-TECH also supplies is on these linkage bikes, they also supply an attachment. It's a thick, looks like about 1/4 inch plastic or rubber, flexible plastic that comes down and rides along your guard. Now, For whatever reason, P-TECH does not supply that with the black powder-coated guard. However, you can buy it independently and add it to it. And I've emailed a couple vendors. I am going to purchase it. The holes are actually already in the bottom portion of the guard, or skid plate portion, if you will, to just rivet it to it. And then I can just purchase that separately from those vendors. So that's what I plan to do. I've just been kind of slow rolling that one. So I'll run through a couple quick videos of why I think that the wraparound skid plate / guard for the P-TECH is better.
I'm down. Take a minute. Oh, that sounded bad. Yeah, Luke. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. So, pretty brutal. Unfortunately, I've had some pretty tough crashes. Particularly my most recent crash wasn't really me crashing, me just dropping the bike. But I kind of let loose of the throttle enough to where the bike zipped up and fell on its side. And it was a really hard impact. And as many of you remember my removing the beta oil injection video that I did, that was the impact that knocked loose the feed for my oil injection tank. Now, once I picked the bike up and I gave it a glance over, I couldn't see any immediate injury or any immediate damage to the bike. And the main reason was because when it came down, it landed on this side. This is pretty much it. It ruffled my powder coat a little bit. This whole thing took that impact. And, you know, it didn't bend the neck of my pipe. It didn't dent my pipe or any of that. So the P-TECH has been a great product. The fitment itself is very, very good. It fits most like most all skid plates. There's a bar that runs across that latches to the two spokes of the frame, and then there's 1-2 bolts, and then in the back there's a singular bolt that comes up as well to where the frame is. So, you know, it bolts up very, very similar to any other skid plate. It just also protects the pipe. So some downsides to these wraparound guards. Yes, they provide fantastic protection. I think mine still looks really good, even after about 30 or 40 hours with some pretty hard crashes. But some downsides is they definitely catch a lot of debris. Because there is a gap here between the guard itself and the pipe, I do get mud and some leaves and things like that. Now, some folks have reported the pipe actually starting a fire, getting brush and leaves down in there. I've never had that problem. You know, I've also seen some people use these guards and then actually use an external screen along this portion, use the metal screen and then attach it to keep debris from getting down in there. Again, I've never had that issue. Do I get mud and things like that underneath of it? Absolutely. But again, whenever I clean my bikes, I just take the extra mile. I'll take the guard off and clean the guard separately and then clean under the frame and all that. So is it an extra step? Absolutely. And like most skid plates, you do have to remove it to change the oil, particularly on my beta. That's just the way it is. So overall, my impressions of the P-TECH: excellent product. The fitment is great. The protection has been great. And the looks have been great. The only downside is, like I mentioned before, which at the end of the day is going to be the same downside for every wraparound type guard that protects the pipe, as well as being a skid plate, is that it is going to possibly, you can get debris down in there. It is going to trap debris and mud. But to me, that's not a big deal. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the description down below. And thank you guys for viewing. Hope you get out there, have a fantastic week, get on two wheels. This is Accelerate once again, signing off.